So, we have come to the discussion of the life of the ruthless egoist and purposeful genius Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879, in the German city of Ulm to a poor Jewish family of Hermann and Paulina Einstein. As the child of non-religious parents, Albert Einstein attended a Catholic elementary school in Munich and by the age of 12 was a fairly deeply religious teenager, although he did not distinguish between Christian and Jewish beliefs. Many people believe that Einstein was a poor student. However, this was not the case. He was very good at math while still at school. Einstein studied mathematical analysis at the age of 12, and 3 years later he wrote an essay that later became the basis for the development of the theory of relativity. Rumors about the scientist's poor grades started because of the different classification of grades in schools in Germany and Switzerland. Grades were assigned from 1 to 6, where 6 was originally a bad grade, and then the system was inverted and 6 became the highest grade. In this case, instead of the highest score, 1 was the lowest. In 1900, Einstein graduated from the Polytechnic with a degree in mathematics and physics. Although his academic performance was not exemplary, he became seriously interested in a number of sciences, including geology, biology, cultural history, literary criticism, and political economy. On January 6, 1903, Einstein married 27-year-old Mileva Marić. The influence of Mileva Marić, a certified mathematician, on her husband's work is still an unclear issue. However, their marriage was more of an intellectual union, and Albert Einstein himself called his wife, "a creation equal to me, as strong and independent as I am." There has always been a certain distance between Einstein and Marić, as the great scientist often needed to be alone to conduct his research. It is interesting that the Soviet physicist Abram Fedorovich Ilf, who personally knew Einstein, called him Einstein-Marić in his obituary, and this fact is often presented as evidence of the joint scientific activities of the outstanding physicist and his wife. However, it has been suggested that Joff added Einstein's surname to his wife's only because he considered it a tradition in Switzerland. In 1904, the Annals of Physics received a number of articles from Albert Einstein on statistical mechanics and molecular physics. They were published in 1905, ushering in the so-called Year of Miracles, when 4 of Einstein's papers revolutionized theoretical physics, laying the foundation for the theory of relativity, in which Einstein replaced the consideration of particles with the consideration of events and overturned the concepts of the photoelectric effect and Brownian motion. The physics community as a whole agrees that 3 of these papers deserved the Nobel Prize, which in the end went to Einstein only for his work on the photoelectric effect, a rather surprising fact when you consider that the scientist is known for his theory of relativity. Published in 1915, General Relativity expanded the scope of the postulates of special relativity to non-inertial reference frames, including the theory of gravity. General relativity is based on the principle of equivalence and considers curvature in space-time. The theory paved the way for the construction of a theory of the universe, cosmology. In contrast to Newton's non-relativistic theory of gravity, general relativity is suitable for describing the gravitational interaction of bodies moving at speeds close to the speed of light. In 1924, a young Indian physicist, Shathendranath Bose, asked Einstein in a short letter to help him publish an article in which he suggested that light quanta are essentially indistinguishable and, therefore, obey different statistics than classical particles. Einstein concluded that the same statistics could be used for atoms and molecules. In 1925, Einstein published an article in German in which he outlined the Bose model applicable to systems of identical particles with integer spin, called bosons. Based on this quantum statistics, now known as the Bose-Einstein statistics, the two physicists theoretically substantiated the existence of a fundamentally new aggregate state of matter, the Bose-Einstein condensate, in the mid-1920s. The essence of the Bose-Einstein condensate is the transition of a large number of particles of an ideal Bose gas to a state with zero momentum at temperatures approaching absolute zero, when the de Broglie wavelength of the thermal motion of the particles and the average distance between these particles are reduced to one order of magnitude. While developing the Bose-Einstein statistics, Albert Einstein simultaneously assisted Erwin Schrödinger in developing a theory that explained the properties of de Broglie waves from the standpoint of classical mechanics, which corresponded to Boltzmann statistics. At the same time, Einstein believed that research in this area of combining classical and quantum models of an ideal gas was less promising than the further development of Bose-Einstein statistics, so he refused to co-author the paper. After moving to the United States, Albert Einstein was appointed a professor of physics at the newly created Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey. At Princeton, he continued to work on the study of cosmology and the creation of a unified field theory designed to unify the theory of gravity and electromagnetism. In the United States, Einstein instantly became one of the most famous and respected people in the country, gaining a reputation as the most brilliant scientist in history, as well as the personification of the image of the gaping professor, and the intellectual capabilities of man in general. Every day he received many letters of all kinds. As a world-renowned natural scientist, he remained an approachable, modest, undemanding, and friendly person. A physicist who revolutionized humanity's understanding of the universe, Albert Einstein died on April 18, 1955, at 1:25 a.m. in Princeton from an aortic aneurysm. Not accepting any form of personality cult, he forbade a lavish burial with loud ceremonies, and wished that the place and time of burial should not be disclosed. On April 19, 1955, the funeral of the great scientist took place without wide publicity, attended by only 12 of his closest friends. His ashes were burned in the Ewing-Symter crematorium and scattered to the wind.